In today's video, we will be installing and tuning the Pedders Sportsrider eXtreme XA coilover kit for the 2016 to 2018 Ford Focus RS. The kit includes 30-way adjustable dampening, 3 inches of height adjustment, and up to 3 degrees of camber adjustment. We will be going over the most commonly missed details of the installation, fab work, and tuning. After which we will head over to our local racetrack for comparison and fine adjustment. Start by removing the cowl covering the strut brace. Next, loosen the 3 bolts holding the strut in place. Make sure to disconnect the electrical connectors for the factory 2-setting dampening. Now, in the wheel well, you will need to remove the brake line bracket from the strut, after which you will want to remove the knuckle bolt that is holding the bottom of the strut in place. To help keep the knuckle open, you can insert a flat metal object such as a steel plate into the opening. Once that is done, push down on the lower control arm and wiggle out the strut. Here you can see the size comparison of the 2 setups. There is also a significant difference in weight, the original being 17 pounds and the Pedders one 11.4 pounds. When it comes to adjusting the camber, each mark on the camber plate is equivalent to 0.5 degrees. To eliminate any sway bar or end link rub, Pedders doesn't recommend going beyond 2.25 degrees of negative camber, depending on your wheel offset. When it comes to spring compression, you want 7 to 10 millimeters of preload to make sure the spring is held in snug and seated properly at full droop. This will have the spring compressed to about 7 inches in length. You will then spin the bottom half of the strut to achieve the desired ride height. Moving back into the engine bay, carefully remove the bolts holding the wipers, making sure to not get them out of alignment. Then remove the final 2 bolts holding the strut brace in place. Carefully maneuver the brace out. Bore out the existing hole in relation to your desired camber for easy access to the dampening adjustment with an Allen key. Clean up the edges and apply some paint to prevent rust. Reinstall the strut brace and next move on to installing the coilovers. Don't forget to mount the brake lines onto the coilover mounting brackets. Using a jack, lift the lower control arm, maneuvering the strut until it is properly seated. Moving on to the rear, remove the plastic trim above the strut tower and disconnect the electronic dampening connector. Remove the single bolt at the bottom of the strut and the 2 nuts holding the top. Push down on the control arm to easily remove the original spring and shock. When installing the new spring, which should also have 7 to 10 millimeters of preload, use a jack to align the holes for the bolt to go through the lower control arm joints. To adjust the rear ride height, use a spanner wrench to loosen or tighten the spring and adjust the shock accordingly, ensuring that it is slightly compressed to prevent overextending under lift. Before completing the installation, make sure all the lock rings and bolts are fully tightened. At the track, we tested the car in a slalom both before and after the installation of the Pedders coilovers to test the difference in performance. With a 1-inch drop in the dampening 5 clicks from fully firm, the ride quality was greatly improved. The easy-to-adjust 30-click front and rear dampening adjustability is a great benefit for the wide variety of autocross track surfaces. With 2.7 degrees of negative camber and adjustment to the dampening, the RS had noticeably reduced understeer. With this setup, we didn't experience any tire or suspension rub due to the more aggressive wheel offset. The car also rotates much better, especially at high speeds. This was evident when the RS was taken to the Virginia International Raceway after our slalom comparison. Although the body roll improvement isn't massive, it lets you feel more confident that the tires have improved contact with the road surface. Overall, the Pedders suspension has made enough of a difference to allow you the confidence and need to change your driving style.